Okay, so what we have done up till now is we have covered the basic concepts of Six Sigma, what it is all about, and uh, about the quality, how it has evolved over a period of time, and then we looked at certain data aspect of Six Sigma. How do we convert a business problem or a practical problem into a statistical problem? So now we will dwell into defined phase of Six Sigma. We know that we're going to be covering the DMAX cycle of Six Sigma within the Green Belt framework. And we will understand what all tools, techniques are there within each and every phase of DMAIC. And we'll go there one by one. So I will start off with define phase. So define the flow. So,
Okay, sounds good.
as right. So, in define phase, there are primarily four things that we do. One is, it starts with the VOC, which is called voice of the customer. So we would collect the voice of the customer. Then we convert that VOC into CTQ. CTQ is critical to quality element. We will understand and see what CTQ is, and then create the project charter. So this particular project charter is like a sales pitch of the project, and it has a few components that needs to be there in the project charter. We'll go through an example of a project charter as well, so that you are able to relate to it. And as you've been part of Six Sigma project, so you would have already seen one of the project charter in your organization. And then at the end, we will draw the as-is map of the process, which is going to be, at this stage, we will draw or map out a very high-level process, which is called SIPOC. It's a tool or a concept which is used to look at the process at a very high level. SIPOC or COPUS is something that we use during the define phase of the project. So define phase is all about defining the project. What is it that we want to do in the project? What is it that we want to achieve? What is the goal of the project? What is the problem that we have? So and there are various tools and techniques that is there at our disposal to use. So we will get into define phase now. I understand the first thing with this customer requirement. So any Six Sigma project or any process improvement initiative has to start with the VOC of the customer. Now, customer can be two types. We can have an internal customer, we can have an external customer. So internal customer is any uh, any other department who takes the output of your process as their input, becomes your customer, and you become customer to any process which is prior to your process. Basically, you consume their output as your input. So, so so whenever we initiate a project, we need to understand from the customer perspective what is it that the customer want, and we try to get the customer VOC, which is voice of the customer. And there are various ways to do that. It can be the NPS survey, the customer service survey. It can be the marketing research. It can be direct interaction with the customer. It can be a focus group session with the customer and their representative. So there are various ways of doing it. And but at the initiation of any project, you need to take the VOC of the customer. So now taking the VOC is not enough. You would need to know exactly what the customer wants. The customer would give you probably the generic statements. So it is for you to convert those generic statements into something that you can use. So the next task would be to convert the VOC into the CTQ, which is critical to quality element. So let me take you to some slides that I have on CTQ. So, so this slide, as we talked about, first we need to ascertain who is the customer. Is it internal customer or the external customer? What exactly do the customer want, and how can he measure what the customer wants, which is CTQ. So from the VOC, you need to ascertain what is the CTQ. CTQ is something which is measurable, against which you can assign a number, right? So, so Scott, let me ask you, in the project that you were part of, as a team member, did we actually go and took the VOC from the customer at the beginning of the project?
No, we really didn't. We actually worked on handle time.
Okay.
So, well, I take that back. We probably did a survey at a higher level and knew that our calls we weren't handling our calls within the guidelines we should have been.
Okay.
So it was more of a I got in, I guess, probably farther down the chain where we were saying, here we started brainstorming into the calls and why are they so long and what affects different things.
Yeah, that is solutioning part of it. But at the initiation of the project, I think when you uh, who told you that the call length or call duration is too long?
That would be the black belt that was running it.
Okay, and somebody might have told him as well, right? So
sure,
it might have been the customer,
yeah.
or the internal or the external customer, or external customer might have complained that
sure.
The calls are taking long time.
Right. Yeah. We were way out of whack at that time, so that is true.
Okay. All right. So so when you get the VOC from the customer, what you need to do is you need to convert it into CTQ. CTQ is something which is measurable, right? So just to give an example, so suppose VOC, you would always get a vague term, right? So for example, the example that you see on the screen, your claim processing is slow and it's never right. So generally, customer would give you statements like this. So if you look at it, what the customer means is, one is customer is saying, I want the claim to be processed faster, and I want the claim to be right. It is still not CTQ. Faster can mean anything. It can mean faster by 1 second. It can mean faster by 1 day. It can mean faster by probably 1 hour, anything, right? So unless and until I assign a numeric to it, a number to it, it doesn't become a CTQ. It doesn't become something that I can measure. So the same example, if you see process all the claim in 1 to 4 business days, bingo, I have the CTQ now. Any claim I can see, I would be able to say whether I have met the CTQ for this particular claim or not, because now I can measure it. So similarly, if process all the claim accurately the first time, I can measure it whether it was done accurate the very first time. If I calculate the first call resolution, probably I'll be able to see at the entire process level, am I processing the claim accurately for the very first time? All right. So getting the VOC is not enough. It is always a starting point. From that VOC, we need to convert it to a CTQ, which is critical to quality, which means something which is measurable. So Scott, if I tell you that tomorrow, let us start early. Okay. So
exactly.
that's a VOC that you've gotten from me. That you got from me. You'll not be able to figure out anything. Early means what? Right. I might mean 5 minutes. You might think half an hour, right? So unless and until I say, Scott, let's start at 10 minutes earlier than what we did today, or 10 minutes early tomorrow. So then, you would be able to, you would be able to figure out whether, this is the exact, this is exactly what is needed, right? So that is CTQ. So VOC is not enough. You need to have a CTQ in place. So there's a way of converting a VOC into CTQ. Again, it's only a concept right now. So there's a 3-step process that we have tried to define. One is identify the critical need. So if you get the VOC from the customer, you need to identify what is the critical need of the customer, what is the quality driver, identify the specific quality driver that drives the identified need that the customer have, or the critical feature or the specification, and then the CTQ with a specific actionable and measurable metric. So I will move ahead.